Okay, so let's talk about creating a listing photo. So this is the most important thing for your listing. This is the first thing that people are going to see, and this is either going to make or break whether you get the click or not, which leads to the sale. So for this example, I'm going to do worksheets. I've seen a couple of you guys doing these, so I thought I would start with these. This would also be a good idea for any like PDFs that you guys are thinking about selling, like instant download games, bridal shower games, baby shower things like that. So I just used the Canva designs for this example. Obviously, you will not be selling exactly their designs because that is a breach of their intellectual property, but for this example, I'm just using these. So this would be, you create your design in one Canva template, right? But then you were going to create the mockups. So you would download these as JPEGs just to be able to make the mockups. So you would download those. Then you would come back over to Canva and you would upload the media. So you would upload the JPEGs over here, and then you would start using that to create your mockup. So you can see that I already started working on this here. And if you have multiple pages of something, it's a good idea to use multiple pages on your listing photo so that people know that it's coming with more than just one thing. So I would go ahead and try to incorporate all of those into your listing. And it's important that the background and your designs stand out. So if I left it like this, like these all blend into each other, it doesn't stand out at all. And it's not going to get any attention, right? So I'm going to just pull this over. You could use a solid color. You could do whatever you think looks best for you. And then one thing you absolutely need to be utilizing if you are doing any sort of listing photo is the shadow feature. So click on Effects, I selected my design, click on Effects, and then you're going to click on Shadows. And you're going to select one of the shadow options they have. This is taking a minute to load. I really like Glow, or I like Drop, Curved. So all of them are fine, honestly. For this example, I'm going to use Curved, and I'm going to apply this to all of my pictures that are on here. And one thing to note is that for whatever reason, when you apply a shadow, it will shrink the image, and so you might have to resize afterwards. Usually it doesn't take this long to load. I think it's because I'm screen recording. It's running a little bit slower. But basically, you're going to do that for all of your photos so that they stand apart from each other. Okay, so you can see I applied the shadows to all of my listings and see how, or my, sorry, not listings, my pictures. See how much more that stands out? It looks so professional, and it really creates the idea for your customer of what it's going to look and feel like when they print them out. And notice I have very clear text. We don't want to do too much text on the first photo because we want it to be really simple. We want it to be eye-catching. We want it to really emphasize what they're actually buying. So you would just use clear words like that. Another thing that I often use on my listing photos is Canva. If I'm selling a Canva template, these are instant downloads if you're doing something like this, so you don't need the Canva logo. But if you are creating a template, then you could definitely add the Canva, one of these Canva stickers, to let people know. Okay, so next I'm going to be showing you a mock-up for a digital invitation. So there's two ways to do digital invitations. Remember, you can do it the normal 5x7 size, which would be where they can email or print, or we're going to do just the mobile email size, which is where they're going to text or email. So that's what I'm doing for this design. I am doing the text version, and I really want to emphasize the texting part because that is very up and coming and something that people are using and looking for. People are texting out invitations more and more every day. So I'm going to come over to Elements. I'm going to scroll down to Frames. Remember, when we are creating mockups, this is a huge tool. And also for reference, I downloaded that design as a JPEG and uploaded it to my Canva account so that I can use it in my mockup. So that is how we use our designs as mockups. So I'm going to use a phone because I want to emphasize that there is going to be, it's textable. Double click if you want to adjust it at all. See how I did that? You double click the photo to adjust. And then, I don't need that guy anymore. So here I am blatantly saying, hey, this is our digital bridal shower invitation, right? So you can size it up however you want it. Then I'm going to add it a little bit diagonal because diagonal shapes are pretty eye-catching. And then I'm going to start adding in my text. I honestly don't need a ton of text. You are going to want to add a Canva logo because this is a newer idea of doing these invitations in Canva. I think it's pretty important to add the Canva logo to your front listing photo. And then after that, you're just going to add some text over here saying like digital Canva. And I apologize. For whatever reason, Canva has an error going on where their text isn't working correctly. But we're going to roll with it. So digital bridal shower. And then we might use a different font to say invitation, just to kind of make it a little more eye-catching and see the fonts are being weird. So let's see if I can change it. I think it might be stuck on all caps. It's being weird. That's okay. Invitation, right? And I'm actually going to switch out this Canva logo. It's all about balance. Whenever you are creating any sort of design, you definitely want balance. And I'll show you kind of how I'm going to do that here. I'm going to drag so I can drag and select so I can move these all at once. I'm going to scroll down and I'm thinking of using this one. I'm going to put it right here at the top. It's like it's coming down. Size it a little bit. I like to leave it blue because that's the Canva logo color, so I think it helps stand out. And then I'm going to put a shape around invitation. And I thought I'm going to do probably a lighter color. And you could also do a like an arrow pointing to that if you wanted to. You really don't need to. This thing. Hold on a second. Move the shape. And see how that's looking more balanced based on when you saw it here versus here. It just looks a little bit more balanced because we have height over here. See how it looks empty though, right here? That's when we probably want to add a little arrow or something to help it look balanced. So for this design, even though you don't need an arrow, I'm going to add an arrow just because it's going to make it look a little bit more balanced. And so I'm going to give that a moment to load. I'm going to flip it so it's facing the right way. I'm going to change the color so it matches. We don't need it that big. We just need it to fill that space a little bit. We could even pull it off over here. But I think I like it in the middle better. And then I like to add a background color. So this is pretty boring. Another thing that I think really makes a listing photo stand out is either like a like I did up here, a wood background, kind of something with texture, or a diagonal shape like I've already talked about. So you could draw a shape on here and then you could turn it to make it diagonal. And we're going to put that to the back. And remember, see how I'm doing this over my entire design? It's totally fine because we're going to position and to back. Just going to set it to the back automatically. I don't like it covering the words, so I'm going to do it like this. See how that kind of stands out? I'm going to readjust this because now it looks kind of weird. See how that weird little space right there? I'm going to move this all over so it doesn't have that. And there you go. That would be an example of a good listing photo for the first thumbnail for a digital invite. Now we're going to go into the next listing photos. So here's our two examples. Next we're going to do like in how to use one, and I'm going to keep these fonts going throughout so that it looks really consistent. So here's how to use. We just want to make it super clear and easy for them. I'm going to keep this theme of this shape going, so I'm clicking on it. I'm doing Command C to copy, Command V to paste, position, backward. All right, how to use, and I'm just going to write out my steps right here. I'm sorry, my sister is texting me because one of our good friends just got engaged. So I'm not going to take the time to write it all out, but this is where you would put all of that information, etc., etc. And again, we want our text to stand out from the background, so I would probably put another shape or something so that the diagonal is not going through that. But again, you don't have to use the diagonal, you could just do a solid background. Another really cute idea is putting a desk background. This is one of my favorite backgrounds to use, is desk. I'll also use like pink desk a lot, which is kind of a cute idea. And a lot of these have this negative space around it, which means extra white space for you to put your stuff around it. Obviously, you'd have to readjust things so that they show up. We don't ever want text on covering that, so you can't even read that. We want our text to always be super clear, super easy to read. And if it's like, if I make it a little bit bigger, see how I double click and resize? There we go. Step one, here we go. So there's another idea of a very cute but easy to read how to use slide. Next we're going to use what's included. I'm just going to pull that over. Once included, and then we are going to say things that are included right here. Same thing, pull over whichever, like diagonals. You can use photos, you can use backgrounds, anything like that is going to be perfect. And then we're going to just say, obviously spell out what's included. Super easy to use, super easy, and put whatever we want on that slide. Remember, we always want text easy to read. We don't want any competing backgrounds. So like basically we don't want our text over a busy part of the background. So here's an example. We don't want that overlapping. We're going to pull it to the side. So something like that. So there's some ideas. We want to stay consistent with color themes going throughout. So I have this very pink color theme going throughout here for this bridal shower example. And so I would want to stick with that and choose a more pink background that I would use for this if I was doing that. You could also just do a solid color. So anything like that, we want to stay super consistent with our fonts and our colors because that gives the people the idea that we are very cohesive and it gives them that same feeling throughout. Then you would download these as JPEGs and then you would upload them to your listing.